Everybody, hands. It's so important to keep your hands warm in cold conditions. If you're going on expeditions and your hands are cold, you can ruin it not only for you, but you can ruin it for others. You might have to turn back. Again, it would ruin the whole expedition. So it's very important to keep your hands warm. Why? Because if you don't, you could get frostbite, you could lose digits off them, and it would become impossible then for you to do up laces, do up zips, operate fundamental little things like your buckles on your rucksack or your buckles on your crampons. Again, it's so important. So that if you don't keep them warm, you lose your digits, it's going to ruin your day, and it's going to certainly ruin your expedition. So keep your hands warm, and you can do that easily by using the layering system. A layering system, just like you would on your head, I spoke about before, and just like you would on your body. Keep yourself warm, and it's very, very important to keep your hands warm, because by heck, on any expedition, you're going to need them. Your hands up if your hands have ever been cold. I have definitely had cold hands before, and some of us suffer more with cold hands than others. Some hardy folk can just walk about with no gloves on, but when you go out into the extreme conditions, it's going to be essential that you have warm hands. They say parts of the extremities, your head, your hands and your feet are essential to keep warm, and if they're warm, then the rest of you should be warm. So I dealt with hats last week, and now I'm going to talk about keeping your hands warm. Now, with technology, it's ideal today. You can go out, and hardy people in the olden days just go out with woolen gloves on. Tough old people, them boys. But nowadays, with technology, it allows the average guy like me and others to go out and use the technology and the materials that we have to keep the hands warm. Now, on a day like today, it's only, I think it was -2 when I left. It's quite cold, but it's not too bad, and you can walk if you're okay with your hands uncovered. But when they start to get cold, ideally you can put something like these on. These are just a liner glove, nice and warm, and they'll keep the chill off your hands and things like that. And the good thing about these, for those that have phones and that, you can use them on your phone. So they're quite good for keeping your hands warm. Always have a packet of these little hotties. They'll keep your hands nice and warm, just in case they don't. Now, the good thing about liner gloves, does what it says on the tin. They're there to go with other gloves, and you can use a vast array. I've just got a pair of woolen gloves here, so if it does get a little bit cold or the wind does pick up, put them on the top. You've got the liner gloves inside, and your hands are going to be quite warm. Okay, but it's not just going to be cold, still, dry weather like it is today. So if it was wet, then these wouldn't be any good to you. So you can use a glove like these. Now, these are just normal ski gloves. Good thing about these is they've got a little hoop there, so you put your hand through there, and then you put your glove on, and you're going to be quite warm. And you want to make sure that when you're wearing the glove, that there is room inside for air to surround, so that if it's too tight, then your hands won't get warm at all, and they'll just get cold. So these generally are quite good, but they can be worn without liner gloves, and if the temperature does drop severely, then you can put the liner gloves inside. Another little beauty are these little things. They're a lot like glovette mittens kind of thing. Put your fingers through, that folds back, and this allows you, if you want to get that, and the ideal thing is you can do your boot laces up and do things like with ropes and carabiners and things like that. And then if it was to get a little bit colder, you just pop that over the top, pop your thumb in there like that, and they'll keep your hands nice and warm. Again, if it's wet, these will get wet and damp and cold and everything like that, and they become useless. But they're a good little glove for when the weather is dry and cold. There's not a lot to say about gloves, really, as long as you layer it right and keep your hands warm. And then, when you go to extreme altitude, you've got these little bad boys. Now, these are absolutely brilliant. Made by a company called Black Diamond. Ideal. They've got duck down inside, and these are a high altitude mitten, if you like. Now, inside there, you've got surrounded by duck down, which is incredibly warm. Outside here, you've got a Pertex liner, which will keep them dry, and you've got a finger inside where 3 fingers will be together, and then you've got a separate finger for your forefinger and your thumb. And the good thing about these gloves is they're quite versatile if you just put them on like that. Okay, you can still use a belay device and things like that. So at high altitude, these are great. And if you couple them with these little hotties, then there's no reason for your hands to get cold. Okay, so there'll be a lot less of this. Okay, the ideal thing is to make sure that you don't let your hands get cold in the first place. So as soon as you start to feel a bit of a chill, get either the liner gloves on or the woolen gloves or whatever. Even if it's just a pair of these, keep your hands warm all the time and you won't lose fingers when it comes to Arctic conditions. Rob the Sloth, signing off.